Okay, so this last demo is going to be about merging PDFs using the PyPDF2 library. Um, it also is going to help you with part 2 of Lab 8. So first, I want to talk a little bit about the library that we'll be using. So PyPDF2, that is a Python library that allows us to merge multiple PDFs. We can extract specific pages from a PDF, and we can also encrypt and modify PDFs if we want. But as we know, the first step to working with a library or module is installing. So similar to how we did the docx library, we want to use pip to install that library either in VS Code via the terminal or on Replit in our shell. So I did test that it does work in both places. Um, so this is an example of what you might see if you do the install on Replit. And I have also installed it on VS Code, but it does look very similar on VS Code, but the terminal just looks a little bit different. Um, so why do we merge PDFs? Um, you might merge PDFs if you want to compile multiple reports into one. Like if you have a year's worth of monthly reports, you might want to combine them into a annual report. You could also organize invoices or legal documents. You could also generate summary reports from different sources. So those are some examples of use cases, and we're going to jump right into the part 2 of Lab 8, which is going to combine PDFs. So let me swap to VS Code. Um, so I've started the combine PDFs.py script. I've imported specifically the PDF merger object from the PyPDF2 module. So I'm just importing this specific object from the library. Um, you could just import the whole thing, but sometimes it's nice to just import exactly what you need. And I started the function header. So I started the function header and then I already have my main script written. So I have a list of PDF files that I've just named file 1, 2, and 3. Those are already in my week 10 directory, which is where my combined PDFs directory or full file is. And then I'm calling my combined PDFs function and giving it my list of PDFs. Um, but all that I have in the function itself is the creation of a merger object by calling that PDF merger um, initializer. So this is very similar to the doc object that we created by saying doc equals document. But we're using a merger for this part of the lab. So the next part um, of the merging process is going to involve going through the list of PDFs that we're passing to the function and using a function in the PDF merger um, objects function list called append to basically build um, a new PDF with all 3 of our PDF files. So to do that, I want to loop through each PDF. So for PDF in PDF, whoops, PDF list, because PDF list is the um, reference name in our function header here. So that's what I'm using here inside of the function. But in the main method is where I am passing in the literal name of our list, which is PDF files. So PDF files, the contents of which are being given to our combine PDFs. Let me do so the contents of our list are being passed into the function as PDF files. Um, and then once the control gets passed to the combine PDFs function, PDF list contains file1.pdf, whoopsies, and then file2.pdf and file3. So once we are inside of the combine PDFs function, PDF list is how we will refer to this content. Just as a reminder of how passing variables works with functions. So for each of the PDFs within our list, I want, what's the problem here? Oh, because I didn't finish the for loop, that's why. Um, so for each PDF, oops, I want to use the append function in the merger or PDF merger object to basically it concatenate or add to the end of a file. So it's taking the first PDF and then appending the next file to the end of that until we're done with our list. Oh, and we want to specifically append the current PDF as we're looping. So that's all that's happening in the loop. It's a pretty simple loop. And then once we are done with our appending, we want to actually write this to an output file, which unless we give it a specific name when we call combine PDFs, it's just going to call it combined report, and that's fine with me. I don't mind, so I'm not going to specify a different name. So output file, and then we have to close the merger object. So it's going to shut all of the input and output file descriptors and clear all memory usage. And it's just kind of like a cleanup process so that nothing else gets written. There's no more data transfer after this. And then at the end of this function, I just like to have a print statement to the console so that there is some output immediately in front of me to see that something has happened. So I'm going to say combined PDFs saved as output file. Cool. Um, and I believe that's it. It's a pretty short part two, because all we're doing is taking 3 PDF files and using this handy dandy built-in append function to append them to each other, and then you'll get a PDF that is all 3 of these files in one. So we'll see that in a second after we run it. And I will do that right this second. It's causing a problem because I'm not in my week 10 directory. That's fine. Let me just change directory to week 10. So now if I run, cool. So combined PDF saved as combined report. If I click the combined report, or I guess I should have showed you what the files themselves were. So I just downloaded 3 papers from an IEEE journal. Shameless plug, one of them is mine. Um uh and then that is all 3 of those got appended to each other. So now I can scroll through this combined PDFs file, and all 3 of the papers are here. So this could come in handy. Like I do a lot of literature review for research. So there's papers. I find a ton of papers, and it's hard to keep track of um like why I saved them, like what category they belong to in terms of what I'm researching. So in theory, I could save all of these to a folder and then use this script to merge them all together and call them specifically. Like, for example, right now I'm trying to do a literature review on human computer interaction, user studies, particularly with um, like virtual reality airplanes, which is super random. But it's a thing I'm doing. Um, and that those papers differ from the other kind of literature review that I'm doing for this project, which is more focused on the um like content of the virtual reality plane that we've built. So more on like the programming and tools used. Um, so I could use a script like this to kind of separate all of my literature for the human computer interaction side of it, and then also the like architecture of the project. And I think that's a pretty useful thing for you as well. If even if you don't use this as IT admins or in your job, which I'm sure you will. Right now, while you're in school, if you're ever doing a research project, this could be very useful. So that is pretty much all I need to talk about for this week. If you have any questions, let me know as always. And on Wednesday, we will do an in-class activity together. Um, so yeah, I will see y'all then.